It's the Memphis Sports Network, WMC Memphis, WMFS HD2 Bartlett Memphis, WMFS FM and HD1 Bartlett, WMFS Memphis, ESPN 790 AM and 92.9 FM ESPN.
The views and opinions of the hosts or guests of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of the management or staff of Intercom Memphis.
Watch the sunrise, new day's dawning, and it's calling you and me. Where the mighty Mississippi flows by Memphis, Tennessee. We've got woodlands, fields, and water. Hey, there is no better way. You can find Larry Ray. Make some time, take the family, ask a friend, but don't delay. Listen up and learn about it all. Outdoors with Larry Ray. Listen up and learn about it all. Outdoors with Larry.
Good Saturday morning and welcome to another edition of the award-winning Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM. Brought to you proudly by Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Barton Power Sports, Sportsman's Warehouse, and Best Care Home Services. Now, here's your host, Larry Ray.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 on this special edition show. It is our Christmas show. December the 23rd is not Christmas, but it is close enough for us. And it is the day that we will pick the winners of the 12 Rays of Christmas contest. And one of those prize winners will receive a special gift from one of our best friends, Avery and Banded.
And Banded, correct.
And
correct.
John Gordon is here from Avery and Banded. Before we say this, John, I want you to know those are the most wonderful waders. Again, they amaze me. My Banded waders that I have, it looks like I'm wearing a pair of pants. I really tested them out last Saturday when I did my show from the duck blind. The best thing about the show was the fellowship with Frank Barton and also wearing my Banded bibs and
well, the waders is correct.
The waders is unbelievable.
They are, and for the lucky winner of the Banded prize is going to get a pair of Red Zone breathable insulated waders.
Oh, folks, I'm telling you, you just walk around in them and you think, well, this is, I mean, I used them once last year, but I was just amazed at this. We got in the muck and everything like that. We'll talk about that later, but I was excited, and I'm going to sell you some waders for Christmas. I can tell you that, folks. If you're looking for those comfortable waders, and I was in muck. I was in muckety muck, so to speak. But wonderful. John Gordon's in here. Ron Wong is on his way. Of course, Ron always backs in here and comes right here at showtime at 6 o'clock. But special guest in the studio. And I don't mean Stuart Settles. Stuart's here. He's always special. It was our he said thank you. I think he did. But what has he got on there? Oh, he's got I'm not going to say what kind of shirt he's got on, but he's got on a CW30 shirt. That's right. That's where, between he and Greg Ratliff, they got about 6 jobs, it seems like. So Dale Sanders is here, the gray-bearded adventurer. I'm looking at him over there. The man who has just amazing career, what he did this year. Good morning, Dale.
Well, good morning, everyone, especially to you, Larry, and the show people here.
Well, we've been together a long time, and we started several journeys with you. The Mississippi River, of course, the Source to Sea, which he did 2 years ago. And then here he comes at 82 years old. He is officially now the oldest person to through hike the Appalachian Trail, all 18,000 miles of it felt like. I know that. Dale, first of all, congratulations. Ron Wong is stepping in now, and Ron will be able to be part of our team and listen to Dale. Dale, you know Ron?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, they're greeting each other right now.
Good morning, Ron.
Ron has come in with all sorts of stuff here, but good morning, Ron.
Good morning. How are you?
We're doing good. So Ron is here, and listen, Dale, I know this thing. You've done a lot of challenging events. This is a man that hiked around the world with his wife Miriam. He has done. One time he held the world record for the longest holding his breath. I remember that from back in his Navy days, if I'm not mistaken. He is from Lickety Split or something, Kentucky. What is it from? What is that?
Lickskillet, Kentucky.
Lickskillet, Kentucky. I mean, if you miss the stop sign, you've gone right through it.
Well, yeah, that's right. There's not even a stop sign there anymore.
Oh, there's not a stop sign. Well, they need to put a sign up there, the home of Dale Sanders. But tell us just what it's been after you've completed this, and we'll talk later on about the challenges. But I know you said you've heard from people in Russia. Just talk about that.
Oh, yeah, I got a text from a friend up in Montana that says, Dale, you are everywhere. I just saw you on Russian TV. My response to him was, I don't know whether that's good news or bad news.
Yeah, but you've been written about. I think you said you were in the Atlanta paper.
Yeah, I actually, 2 days after the hike finished on 26 October, took the family to the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C., and picked up a newspaper, and there I was, taking up 1/3 of the front page of the Metro section.
Can you believe that? Has it been that way? People still, I know you're still recovering, so to speak. You're in a recovering mood. I imagine this Christmas for you and your family is you're just glad you're home, right?
Well, I'm glad I'm home, but actually recovery's been easier than I anticipated.
Really?
I think I'm still riding on the media, the massive amount of media that the hike attracted and seemed to get generated around the world. So I'm still riding high on that. But I think that I don't think I'm going to have a post hike depression as I normally do when I finish a long distance
really?
Journey.
And so your body right now compared to this time last year, are you smaller?
Well, I'm a lot smaller. I
thought you were. Yeah,
I went down to 137 with my hiking boots and all my clothes on.
And you weighed what at one time?
Well, when I started training to do the AT, I weighed 164.
My goodness. So what are you weighing right now?
Right now I weigh 143, which is about exactly what I would like to weigh.
Yeah, well, you'll weigh more than that after Christmas.
Oh, you got that right.
You know,
I love those sweets. Matter of fact, on the trail, I got in the habit of eating sweets because I'd eat anything to get my hands on.
You would?
Trying to get those calories up because I didn't have any more fat. The body was using the muscle for energy.
All right, and you guys, anybody want to ask a question, jump right in here on Outdoors with Larry Ray. We have Dale Sanders, the Gray Bear adventurer from Bartlett, Tennessee, who hiked the Appalachian Trail starting was that in May or when did you start?
I actually started on 1 January 2017.
Okay, and then you turned 82 in June, right?
That's correct.
So you were 82, and that puts you in the record book, right? I mean,
when I finished.
I know when you finished, but you had the age. Now you had to complete it.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, talk about your time on the trail.
Well, it was much more difficult than I anticipated it would be. I mean, I'm an experienced hiker, an experienced paddler, done a lot of adventure sports. I had no idea that it was going to be as difficult as it was, as rocky as many mountains. Because it's rare to find a walk in the park section on the trail where you just walk without rocks or you walk in relatively level ground.
And you took 2 breaks, a couple of breaks, I think. You came home, but you also had a little medical issue, too.
Yeah, going through the 100-mile wilderness in Maine, got some internal bleeding and had come off the trail for a couple of weeks until the doctors finally figured out what that was. And they cleared me to go back as soon as I built some blood back up.
Isn't that amazing? All right, guys, now you think about this. When you think about John, I mean, you said you were 48, and you're thinking this guy's almost got your numbers backwards when you think about it.
Well, it's an incredible accomplishment at any age, you know.
It is,
but, at 82, it is quite spectacular, man. You should be extremely proud of yourself for that deal, and you're an inspiration.
That's right. That's what I was going to say. And Ron, you know this. You've been keeping up with Dale. Get the microphone and give us your input on what you think Dale's accomplished here.
Well, first of all, I wish I was able to do what Dale has done. But
in a boat.
Well, I mean, I would love to be able to have the endurance
Yes. Yeah.
and the health to be able to hike the distance.
Yeah.
And not only the distance, but the terrain that he had to go through. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And, I admire anybody that takes on these kind of adventures.
Uh-huh.
And it had to be exciting. First of all, the scenery, and then the wildlife that you're in with. And, it's not like you can say, if you get in trouble, hey, come help me.
That's right.
It doesn't happen that way.
There's no Uber Sabres or
no
fast food place you can.
Yeah, it's not like I'm hungry. I think I'll go get something to eat.
Yeah.
But it's pretty amazing, and I admire Dale for what he has done. And
look at him; he looks like he's ready to go again.
Yeah, he's ready to go again.
He's got that look of.
He's having to sit for a little bit during this radio segment, and you can tell it's getting to him.
Yeah, Dale, how many states did you go through?
14 states.
14 states. Pull that microphone. 14 states. Okay. Now, so that's starting in Georgia. It's ending in Maine. Now, you kind of went back to Maine and came back, right?
Actually, I started in Springer Mountain, Georgia, and hiked to Pennsylvania, central Pennsylvania, Boiling Springs, as a matter of fact.
Uh-huh.
And then I did what they call a flip-flop, so I could go to Maine, hike those tall mountains in Maine and New Hampshire White Mountains all before the fall. And so I hiked up to Katahdin, back down Katahdin, and then back down to Pennsylvania.
Amazing. So what was the hardest thing on this journey?
Well, the hardest thing on the journey was the logistics of putting everything together to stay alive. But physically, the hardest thing was probably either the White Mountains of New Hampshire or the southern mountain ranges of Maine.
Well, as you got toward the end, you were talking about there is a gray-bearded adventurer nation out there that you have never met. But you have fans now, as you said, the inspiration part. So why did you do this?
Well, I started off to do it because I just wanted another record. And I had that Mississippi River World record, age record, so I wanted another one. But then it quickly had to come up with a theme, so I just carried the same theme, juvenile diabetes, raising awareness for juvenile diabetes through the hike. But then the inspiration really came from as I started to be known by the hikers, and then by the encouragements I got from the fellow hikers and the trail angels and family is what really kept me going.
Yeah.
There's no way I would have probably quit.
You were going to quit
100 times if it hadn't been for them.
Yeah, you had quitting thoughts several times. You said.
Oh yes, I sure did. But I one person told me early on, never quit on a bad day. So,
and you had a few bad days, right?
I had my share of them.
I mean, the weather. You dealt with weather, wind, wildlife, bears, and all these different kind of things. So which of the elements was the weather? You had snow. I mean, you've had all.
Oh, it was terrible in March when I was still in Georgia, as a matter of fact.
In Georgia.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, it was down to 9 degrees, and that wasn't the wind chill index, and the wind was blowing 30 knots, steady.
And there was Dale.
Yeah, and it was terrible. I like to not made that. I thought I was going to die that night, but I got in a sleeping bag finally, and I wouldn't come out.
Yeah.
But I made it through that. I made it through several bad situations similar to that, climbing mountains. The unfortunate thing is most people think the AT is easy to hike. It's a lot of rock climbing. It follows the Eastern Continental Divide across the mountaintop, so it's not an easy thing to accomplish.
But you met so many people on the road. I mean, on the trail.
That was really nice.
I saw you with somebody with a baby carrying a little baby on the trail. A couple or something like that.
Well, that was the first human to actually be able to. Of course, that 9-year-old baby didn't walk the whole trail. Mom carried her, but but she's the youngest person to complete the AT, and they went on to complete it, and that's been getting a lot of notoriety as well.
Yeah, that was a 9-month-old baby or something.
9-month-old, and it took me 9 months to hike the trail.
That's well, it's time to give then. So was it more than you expected, or was the challenges? You had really prepared for this. You had trained for this. You had all your logistics and everything. Was it more than you expected?
A lot more. There's no way one can train to hike the Appalachian Trail without actually getting on the trail itself.
So many people get on the trail and do 10 miles and say, well, I hiked the Appalachian Trail.
Well, I averaged about 16, so that was a lot better than 10. But when I first started out, at 10 miles was a good day for me, but it quickly elevated into high teens and sometime in the 20s.
You got into the 20s. Sometimes you got, 20 miles in a day, you know.
I can't imagine walking that on flat ground.
No, flat ground,
much less on mountains.
Well, one day through the mountains with my backpack, I hiked 25 miles.
20, and that backpack he was carrying was like a 9-month-old baby. I mean, but you had great equipment, didn't you, Dale? Some of these people.
Well, yes, I did. I actually would buy the lightest and, of course, the most expensive equipment, and I changed out several things in the shakedown hikes to make sure I'd get lighter and lighter and lighter, and I kept getting lighter. And finally, when I settled on the best stuff for me, I was able to get the poundage down to average less than 20 pounds a day.
20 pounds a day is carrying. Okay. Now, how many shoes did you go through?
3 pair.
3 pairs of shoes.
Yeah.
Okay, and those are not cheap shoes. He wasn't out there, nothing against some places, but he didn't go by and pick these up at the used car lot.
Well, I didn't have to buy them, thanks to my sponsor. I got them free.
You had some really nice sponsors and things like that were taking care of you. Even your eating, people think, well, how did he eat on the trail? Like Ron was saying, you had to cook your own food. You had to have also preparedness, and you camped out. This was not a luxurious thing. I think I'll stop by the Holiday Inn someplace, and I mean, there's hostels and there are stopping places, aren't there?
Interesting enough, I never stayed in a motel or a hotel, not one time. I stayed in 5 hostels, but the rest of the time I stayed in either the shelters or the campgrounds, or I slept in my van.
And of
course, there are stopping places, yes.
Yeah, or you spent some time in the hospital.
Yeah, I spent a little bit of time. I actually, most of that time was in the resting in Maine or at home resting there. But I didn't actually spend a lot of time in the hospital, just doctor's offices.
Okay, well, this guy is pretty amazing, folks. We're talking to Dale Sanders. You just Google the Graybeard Adventurer and see what this man has accomplished. But we've been kind of holding off for Dale. He was asking me what happened to me and things like that, but I'm going to announce today that I'm going to do a story on the top sporting outdoor things during 2017. I'm going to rely on all my co-hosts to come up with maybe the top 5 things that happened in the outdoor world in 2017. But Dale Sanders is Outdoors of Larry Ray's Outdoor Sportsman of the Year. Y'all don't even get to vote on that. I'm sorry.
That's a pleasant surprise.
What he accomplished, and I think we've been with Dale. Dale was a former member of my church, the Bartlett Hills Baptist. Our class, the Joy class at Bartlett Hill Baptist, was among those group that were praying for Dale and his wife Miriam too, and the family and everything else. Because this is not something, you look back now, Dale, you broke the record. The old record was 81, right?
Oh, yeah, that's correct. But I learned that he did a section hike. I actually did a through hike. The through hike, it turns out, according to the Appalachian Trail Conservancy, that the age record for a through hike was 77. So I broke it by 5 years.
77. Golly.
That's just a young pup there.
It is for me. It is for me. Let's see. When did I have to start challenging myself?
I'm challenging all the old people out there. Somebody break my record. I would love for that to happen. I'll give them all the support I can.
You think it will?
If I can find somebody that thinks they can pull it off, go for it.
Go for it, because I mean, there's records for the fastest. So how many days? It took you 9 months, right?
It took me 9 months.
And you were looking to hope to be through in September, I think. At one time, you were looking at that, right? Or
yeah, and
late September.
So
you ended up
sicknesses in there. I probably would have made it late September.
But you made it in October the 26th, right?
That's correct.
What was your feeling when you finished it?
It was so euphoric, and it was really an unbelievable day. I finished the last mile in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia, and I really would love to spend more time with the hikers. A lot of hikers were there that I've been on the trail with. There's about 50 people hiked that last mile with me, including family. But there was also a lot of media coverage too, so I was really, really sort of overwhelmed with that day's activity.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit more. We're going to take a break right now. Let's take a break. We're going to try to hook up with Buck Gardner and to play Jingle Bells, but I've been unable. Buck is probably, I don't know where Buck is. He could be.
He may be in a duck blind.
He may be in a duck blind. That would not shock me if he was. But let's take a break. Yeah, that's true. All right, let's take a break. Stuart Settle will be right back. The Gray Beard Adventurer is in the house today on Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790.
You can find out all about it on Outdoors with Larry.